Well, my friends, at this point in time, we've seen a lot of little examples on a lot of different topics in the world of Postgres. But going forward, we're about to start to take a look at some more advanced features that really only make sense if we have a little bit more complicated structure to our database. That means a lot more data and many more tables. So moving forward, we really need some more complicated structure of a database so that we can really understand why we would use some of these different features. So in this section, we're going to focus on trying to build out a more serious version of an Instagram type database. We're going to focus on how we might decide on all the different tables we need to create, how the tables will be related, and different columns and data types for those columns that will go into each table. That's what we're going to focus on in this section. After we put together a lot of these different tables, we'll then seed our database with a lot of fake data so that we've got some data inside there where we can actually do some kind of performance tuning and so on. Now, as we start to think about building out a more serious version of this Instagram database, well, it's definitely going to involve creating many different tables. Anytime that we think about creating a lot of different tables inside of a database, usually we want to somehow document that. We want to remember what different tables exist, what the goal of each one is, and how they are all related. We could definitely figure that out by making use of a tool like pgadmin and visually inspecting each and every table and just taking a look at, say, the foreign key columns and understanding how the tables are related. But that's a little bit tedious. And sometimes, well, we don't want to have to load up pgadmin and have to do some kind of manual inspection to figure out how everything is related. So rather than doing that, we very frequently instead make a use of a tool called a schema designer. Schema designers are usually visual software programs, so essentially a website or something like that you might go to. These are all kind of diagramming tools, very similar to, well, what we're looking at right now. The goal of these diagramming tools is to help you visually represent the structure of your database. You're going to build out a diagram that shows every different table, usually the columns inside those tables and their data types, and then also how those different tables are related. So we're going to take a look at one or two or three different schema designers that you might use in the real world. There are many different SQL schema designers out there. These are all different products that you can use to diagram out the structure of your database. There are tons of different options. This is a partial list right here. Many of them are free, some of them are paid, but even the paid ones usually have free plans if you want to use a free plan. Out of this list right here, and out of schema designers in general, there's really two different types. Some SQL designers, you're going to enter in some amount of code or kind of a configuration file of sorts, and then the application will build a diagram out of it. In other cases, you're going to essentially just be working with a diagramming tool and kind of linking different boxes together in some way. Let's take a pause right here. We're going to come back in the next video or two and take a look at one or two or three of these different SQL designers and understand how they work.